So my name is Matt Legg, and I fought old school, and wouldn't start trouble, but could deal with it if he had to. Would fight.
151%, just like we said previously. You know, I set myself a goal.
Where I met Norman again, and Norman Buckland said to me, rather than fighting on the street, getting in trouble.
I just want to get started by introducing myself. I'm Tristan from Xpress Coffee, and this YouTube channel is where I want to talk about business success, life goals, motivation. But it strikes to me that whether you're a businessman, a racer, a boxer, or just someone that wants to make the most out of life, the biggest similarity is you need to set goals and really you need to just keep motivated. So today I'm really honoured. We've got the local legend Matt Legg with us, and also we've got Carl Hanif. What I'll do quickly is, to anyone that follows boxing, is into boxing, obviously will know who you are. But for everyone that, or anyone that doesn't watch boxing, or doesn't know who you are, if you could give me a quick overview, from how it went from getting yourself into the gym to getting into the ring at Wembley with AJ.
Yeah. So my name is Matt Legg, and I started training in here when I was 13 years old, in this very gym, 1989. Your dad was in there as well, yeah. John Ellis and Dan Ellis and everyone. So I loved weight training. I was getting into street fights and stuff like that. I was getting a lot of people starting on me, normally like a gang of people. So I was doing weight training to protect myself mainly. So I came in this gym, trained here for years actually. You should see Norman Buckland in here, who you know as well. Yeah. He's a legend. Norman used to come in, I used to see Norman. And I looked up to all those fighters, but not bullies. Like people like Norman, who would fight a gang of people by himself, but he wouldn't pick on people.
Very respectful people.
Respectful, yeah. Old school. And wouldn't start trouble, but could deal with it if he had to, would fight back. Looked up to them. I started getting involved with crime and other stuff, and I was used as a sort of muscle driver. Getting into a lot of fights, still getting into fights. If I saw someone in trouble, getting attacked by a gang of people, I would jump in and help them, even if I didn't know them. So I got a few arrests for violence and fighting and stuff from the age of 15 onwards. And then by the age of 18, I had a fight with the police, well, 3 or 4 fights with the police. Got serious gas buying a couple of times and hit with truncheons. Even at the age of 15, I got hit with truncheons and stuff like that. And had a bit of a dislike for the police. Went to prison in 1994 for a big fight with the police and the doorman again, because I thought they were being bullies. In prison is where I met Norman again, and Norman Buckland said to me, rather than fighting on the street, getting in trouble, take up boxing. So we started boxing in the prison with no gloves, just socks around our hands against each other. And because we weren't allowed to get gloves in, and we weren't allowed gum shields, so we just put socks around our hands and fought each other. That was my introduction to boxing. Most people get pad work and all that. Me and Norman fighting each other was my first, with socks around our knuckles. But I loved it all because it was a toughness that I loved about it. Got out of prison, didn't do very long. I've never been back since, and that was 30 years ago. And got straight out of prison, started amateur boxing, went through the amateurs, went with a few good trainers, Ricky English, all my trainers are Milton Keynes, Sean Burns, Mervyn Turner, Jack Lindsay. And then eventually got to the ABA final, lost that, so I was a number 2 amateur in the country. I only lost to one person as an amateur. He beat me twice on points. And then turned pro, decent pro career, not a lot of fights because I was in and out of boxing, didn't take it seriously. And I got to fight AJ at Wembley and James Toney in prize fighter, which was capped off my boxing. So if I hadn't have done that, I would have been disappointed. But to fight them 2 legends at the end, was really what topped it off.
Yeah, because mentioning Norman just made me think, because obviously you saying about my dad training here as well. Yeah. We were only chatting the other day, and he was saying that he remembers back then, as he started, I think he must have started training when he was 16, I think, something like that. Yeah. And he said, as obviously I've known you a lot of my life, and we do one-to-one boxing, which is really good. And And my dad, he said he's known you since you were 14, and he said that he remembers. Must be 30 years he told me this story now. And he said he remembers this little 14-year-old annoying him, telling him that when he's 18 he's going to be 18 stone.
Yeah.
But he always admired the fact you did it.
Yeah, I did it. Well, I wasn't little, I was 6'2" at 14. But I always used to say to your dad, when I get to 18, I'm going to be 18 stone of muscle. And then, but I did get there at 18 years old. But
he's always admired that, because it always was like, it's like a little annoying kid saying, I'm going to do this and do that, but he actually then did it, and it was.
I did it because I had goals. When you got, like you're going to talk
You
about
have the drive as well.
the drive and the goals. And I had that goal. I wanted to be a good fighter, mainly on the street initially. I wanted to be the strongest, the toughest, whatever, to protect myself. And then the weight training came involved, and I got to 18 stone at 18, and then ended up in prison. But then I did boxing, and I dropped off the weight training, and I started the boxing training. So the weight sort of took a back seat.
Yeah, that's more cardio, isn't it?
Yeah, more cardio fitness, but I was still
fitness.
knocking around 16, 17 stone when I was boxing, because I kept all that muscle that I built from when I was young. But I remember saying that to your dad, But that's what I've always done. If I set myself a goal, I always really want to achieve it. And I still do it now. When I'm training, I'm not training at the moment, but when I do train, I set how many chin-ups I want to beat, or I want to add more weight on, I want to do this next week. I've always got goals that I want to achieve and break and beat my records. I'm not competing with other people, I compete with myself to beat my own personal records. Whether it was running, stair running, weight training.
I think with athletes, it's with everybody, it's the same. You've got to put goals for yourself. So you might do 10 press-ups, then you've got to do 15, then 20. And you just got to keep going and keep going, And that's the only way you get better, 100%.
No, exactly that. And like I say, it is about setting that. It might be, someone says, I want to be, bodybuilder or win whatever it is. But how do you get there? What is your little steps?
You got to. That's where the discipline comes in.
Yeah.
100%. You got to have the discipline, and that's how. The discipline starts with yourself first.
Yes.
You've got to be able to control that and discipline yourself and say, right, this is what my goal is. This is what I'm going to do. If it's going to be Monday at 8 o'clock every morning, then that's the discipline that you have to keep doing. And once you get into a routine, then it becomes natural then.
Yeah, and like you say, it is about discipline. And also, it's about really wanting something.
Yeah.
Because I know, like last year, I was 11.5 stone. I started fasting, and literally it was just. I just woke up on a Monday morning. I was like, right, I'm going to give this a go. And I literally stuck it, and it was hard. I did 1 meal a day every day. I did that from the end of April to beginning of September, and that was so much hard work. And it was like I'm not going to let my brain tell me I can't do it.
Yeah.
And it was like you're saying, you're competing with yourself.
You don't want to give up.
No,
you just can't. That's right.
You don't want to give up. That's the thing. If you've got a mentality of I'm not going to let it beat me.
You've got to have the right mindset.
Yeah.
And you've got to set your mind to it, and then just keep on it. It's like a one-track mind.
Yeah.
You just got to keep on it, and you're going to get diverted. You're going to get all these other things that come into your mind and think, oh no, I'm feeling tired. Oh, I've got to go see somebody or whatever. You've got to keep that straight mind and just keep to it, and that's where the discipline comes. 100%.
Definitely. And also, just quickly, if you don't mind introducing yourself and then tell me.
I'm Carl Hanif. I run Keeping Kids Off the Streets. It's a local charity that we run. Free boxing in Milton Keynes. We also run food parcels that we give out every Fridays.
Yeah. As
you've just seen, one of the drivers just turned up. And we started about 25 years ago. Just exactly what we're talking about now. My son got stabbed in Stantonbury. Okay. And when he got stabbed, I got my little one, and I thought my mindset was I didn't want him to grow up just like everybody else. I thought I can't have him going down that road. And then when I got him into the boxing, and then he just flourished. But it was same as what we're saying. I had to have that discipline myself. I had to make sure I picked him up at 6 o'clock, making sure I was at home there to pick him up, drop him off. As a father, and that's why when I run the charity now, and I call it Single Moms, Absent Fathers. which is a number one, affordability, and then the accessibility.
Yeah.
You know, we're running, I think, just over 15 clubs in Milton Keynes now.
Wow.
You know, and that's why we've got so many, is for the accessibility. It's got to be accessible, and
They're
it's
free as well, aren't they?
yeah, and we do it free as well. So it must be over over 300-400 kids a week we run through that go through the gyms.
Wow.
But yeah.
And what really, so was it literally your son, that's what really focused you on doing what you do now?
Yeah, 151%, just like we said previously. You know, I set myself a goal to not have him go down that road.
Yeah.
And, you know, and for me to set a goal, and I just went with it and kept him on it. And then Matt used to train, I think it was about 12, 13 when you used to train at Kev's.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he just kept to it. He's got about 35 trophies.
Oh wow.
Medals, certificates, and the first one he won, I think he was about 6 years old. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So he's a good little.
I didn't realise Kasim box though.
Not Kasim, it
Oh,
was Uzi.
Oh, was he?
You know, my oldest one.
Did he box? Oh, yeah, yeah.
No, he wasn't in the boxing, did he?
Oh.
He went down the wrong road,
Oh, right, yeah.
as you know.
Yeah.
But it is what it is, but now he's 23 years old, and he's nothing like what a 23-year-old should be. Ended up going to university when he was 18, and he passed his test, and he said, "Right, Dad, I don't need you now." And that's when I thought, right, okay, what am I going to do now?
Yeah.
And I thought, right, I've done it with him, I'm going to do it for the community now.
Yeah.
So we set one club up free, and then we set another one up, and now we are where we are today. We've just over 15 clubs, and we've just taken over this Atlas building as well.
Yeah.
Where we just run a boxing gym.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so just real quick, how did you two meet? You know, because I know you're
You
involved.
remember? You probably can remember. I can't remember.
I remember when I met Matt, because we used to run a magazine before all this. I used to be a publisher, and we used to run a magazine called Easy Guide.
Oh, yeah, I remember that.
And Matt and his friend come in, and it was when you were making that movie of Milton Keynes.
Yeah.
I can't remember what it was called, and I think you had your mate come in.
New City Fighter with Russell.
That was it, Russell. Yeah, that New City Fighter, and they wanted a bit of publicity in the magazine, and that's when I met him.
Was it then?
It was
How
then.
long ago was that? That's about 15, 20 years.
That was.
I thought I knew you before then.
No, that's when I first met you.
Yeah.
That's
you got good
exactly
memory.
when we first met
I
you.
can't remember.
Then I met you again, yeah, a few other times, down the, I'd say in the wrong places.
Oh, yeah,
at the
yeah.
time, but
He's driven past in the morning, seen me up drinking on the street with a can of beer, didn't you?
oh yeah, that was
Saturday
fast
morning.
forward. Yeah,
that was about 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah.
He's picked me up and got me some of that.
I started helping the homeless.
Yeah.
So I was always around the city centre, because that's where they had all the tents. And what we used to do, we used to have a stall outside. So I'm always around the city centre. So I'm driving past one day, and I've gone past Lloyd's, and I've seen this geezer sat on the wall,
Drinking
with his
a can of
head
beer.
down like that,
Drinking a can of
sort
beer.
in a sobbing. And I thought,
Oh, that's something. I was.
yeah, okay. But anyway, he didn't look
I was pissed
He didn't
off.
look right anyway. So I drove past, and I saw him, and then I thought, hang on, is that Matt? So I've gone down to the bottom of the road, and I turned back round, and it was him. So I pulled out, and I shouted at him. I said, "Look, what are you doing? He sat there."
I think he took me to the pub for a beer, didn't
So
he?
I said, "Look, come on, get in the car." And he'd had a few issues, and
I've
he
been
said,
up all night and the drink and everything else. So I was on a bit of a come down type thing, and he took me down. We had a quick drink in the pub, didn't we? And then I think he dropped me off.
Yeah, he had a drink. I don't drink.
Yeah, I had a drink.
Yeah, I had a drink. I was just trying to tell him to stop drinking.
Yeah.
It's not good.
Yeah.
I said, "Look, I can go to a bar
Cheers,
now."
mate, bro.
No, because I know how difficult it is, because I've been there. I was a drinker, and it took me nearly 5 years to come off it.
Yeah.
And I had to do it all myself without the AA support and all these other organisations out there. And I think that's where it comes in what we were saying earlier about self-discipline. If you can't have self-discipline, you can't achieve anything.
No.
And I had to achieve that by myself, and that's when I met Matt, and I said, "Look, I can go up to a bar and order an orange juice now."
Yeah.
Where before it was really difficult.
Yeah.
And it is, but it comes down to discipline again, yeah. And that's where we are today.
Yeah, because well, talking about that here's just a quick question. Start with you, Matt. Is what advice would you give to your younger self? So not just like young people today. Is what would you give if you could go back and say,
the advice I would give would be don't give up on your dreams, work hard at them, because I took a lot of time off in my boxing career. I had 6 years out at one point, then I had a couple of wins, and I took another 5 years out. So my advice would be don't get disheartened by a setback, because I lost the fight and I disheartened me and I stayed away, but don't get disheartened, keep working at it, keep pushing at your goals, and just, don't be disheartened by anything, just keep on going at your goals. Don't waste any time, don't waste time, because your life goes so quick, and the older you get, the quicker it goes. So make the most of it when you're young.
Yeah, because that brings me back, because I heard, I was listening to a song once, I've said this before, and I think it was a Nickelback song, and it said, every day is a gift and not a given right.
Yeah.
When I heard that, it's like, that is so true.
Yeah, it is.
You know,
because some people don't get that long on this planet.
You don't know what your life could just end.
Yeah,
exactly.
You don't know.
You could get hit by a bus tomorrow, so you've got to make the most of it.
It's kind of like what you're waiting for.
Yeah.
But I think when you're younger, I think that just doesn't go through your mind.
It doesn't, and I tell you what, it really doesn't.
No, it doesn't. That's what I'm saying.
You know, I completely agree, because I thought that, and then I remember, I think it was Eddie Murphy, and I saw this interview with him, and he, because if you look at, 365 days in a year, I've got then, let's say, another 50 years ahead of me. He then, I watched one, and he's like, right, now put it into, you're going to see, average person lives, let's say, 75. You're only going to get 75 winters, 75 summers.
That's
75.
right,
It's like, when you put it like that, it's like, that's not a lot.
When you're young, you think you're going to live forever, and you think being in your 40s, when you're a teenager, being in your 40s is so far away.
Yeah.
When you're in your 40s, you realise how quick it goes, and then you realise you're already halfway through your life. I'm more than halfway through my life. 47. I might have another 20, 25 years, so I'm 2/3 of the way through.
We're lucky we made it.
So you've got to make the most of it.
It's a blessing.
Yeah.
It's a blessing.
And that's what my dad always says. He's just happy to wake up every day.
That's what it should be. That's the same as me.
Yeah.
You know, you should be blessed that you woke up and be grateful that you've been given another day.
Because what about you? What would your advice be to your younger self?
My advice would be exactly the same. You know, keep your determinations, focus on what you want to do, stay positive, and don't get diverted. You know, it's when you're younger. Yeah, we've all been there. We get diverted, and then there's not a good outcome out of it, and there's nobody comes out smelling of roses.
No.
You know, especially with kids nowadays thinking, everybody wants to be a drug dealer, everybody wants to be a gangster, everybody wants to carry a knife and that. You know what? There's no good outcome of it. You're either going to get killed or you're going to end up in prison.
Yeah.
That's it. Two things. And you're lucky if you survive.
Yeah.
You know, I was just saying to Matt earlier, you know, you've either got to get out of it earlier, and you're only the lucky either gone one way or the other.
Yeah.
Do you understand? And the ones that are on the other side and still standing, they're the lucky ones.
I would say learn from other people's mistakes as well, because I've always learned from not only my mistakes, but learn from other people's.
No, it's right.
If you see someone get into prison for 30 years for stabbing someone, you don't want to follow in their footsteps. So I can't understand why people are still going out doing it.
Because what do you think the mindset is now? Why do you think it's... Because, again, I might be wrong, but the kind of... What I look at is, if you think back then, it was a lot tougher.
I think.
Whereas now, it's kind of like a holiday.
Everyone's they're allowed to do what they want. The punishments are relaxed. You can't tell someone off now. You can't tell your kids off.
Yeah.
Without, so what's happened? There's no punishment to the kids. My dad, if I was naughty, I'd get smacked, and it taught me a lesson.
Yeah.
He instilled manners, respect, and all that in me, and it toughened me up, because when you're getting smacked by your dad and you're a kid, it made me get tougher. It probably made me a bit angry.
Yeah. But
he instilled all that stuff in me. Kids nowadays, not getting told, they're not getting punished. They're allowed to do what they want to do. Probably why there's a lack of respect and all this lack of morals and stuff in the younger generation. They don't care about human life, a lot of them.
Well, it's because there's no discipline, isn't it? 100%. If there's discipline there, You know, it's right. You know, you can't touch your kids now, and if you can't touch them and you just shout them, and then what do kids do? They just sit there and say, "Yeah, all right, mum, go on. Yeah, going in one ear and out the other."
Yeah.
I'm not saying that smacking your kids is all right, I'm saying it worked for me.
Yeah.
It worked in my particular case, but I just think people are too soft nowadays.
Yeah. No,
so I condone.
Because as I remember, I was in the pub once. This is about 3 years ago, I think. Yeah, it must be about 3 years ago. And I was chatting to someone, and I didn't know who he was. I was like, "Oh, what do you do?" And then he was like, "Oh, I've just got out." He was like, "Yeah, it's alright. I'll go in for 6 months, see my friends, and come out again."
Yeah.
And I was just looking, thinking, what kind
they
of
treat
life
it
is
as a little
that?
break.
It is. It's like a holiday because
they ain't got to pay any bills.
Exactly. And I think that's probably the biggest issue. If you look at like the old school, even if you went down the old school gangster sort of way, there was a level of respect as well.
I think what it is now, prison is too easy. I think the old way was, you know what, it's only a wise man that can stay out of prison.
Yeah.
Anybody can go to prison. Do you understand? And these kids nowadays, just like Matt highlighted then, is, you know what, they'd probably be inside because they've got gas bills, they've got electric bills, they've got shopping, they've got all this outside. Why not just do something wrong and go inside?
Well, inside now you've got your computers, you've got your TVs in your cell. Back in the when you're talking, if you go back to the 40s, 50s, 60s, you had a cell with a bucket, and you had nothing in it. That's what they had, didn't they? It was a bucket and your bed, and that was it. Maybe a table to do your writing.
Yeah.
You had nothing in there.
I think society's just become more too soft.
So now you've got your own
hotel room. It is a hotel room, isn't it?
You've got your own. I'm quite happy to sit there. That's what I do at home anyway. If I'm at home, sit on the computer.
Yeah.
So you can sit on the computer in your cell watching TV.
Mate. So when I went, I couldn't believe it. You know, I just thought this is a holiday camp, and
I bet there's worse hotels out there.
Where did you go?
Peterborough.
Oh, right.
I was over there, but
yeah, it's probably worse hotel. Yeah.
But because I think it's just changed. It must have changed from when Matt went years and years in, you know, the old prisons to what it is today. Yeah, and I think today it's like a holiday camp. You know,
Well, can you imagine back in the day?
It wasn't long.
You know,
it wasn't long ago when I went. You know, it's like I said, it was just one of them boxes I had to tick. That's probably why I had to go. But when I did go, it was just full of teenagers.
Yeah.
And they were going in. They were going in one day. They were going out one day, and then a week later, they're back in again because they brought the parole or whatever. And you think, what? And they're back
life is it?
Yeah, what a life! And they've got more friends inside than they have outside.
Yeah.
Because here's the other. I know you mentioned Norman. Is because this one thing is about. I think it must have been about 2 years ago. Yeah, I think it's 2 years ago. My dad asked me to stop off at his because he brought out a book and get it signed for a friend of ours. And I'd never met him before, so I was like, right, okay, I'll stop off. I'm sure it can't be that hard. So I stopped off and I found his door. I knocked on the door, and I think it was his daughter that answered. And I said, "I'm just here. Norman signed the book." And she was like, "Oh, come on in." I was thinking, I don't know who I am, but I was thinking, actually, I don't think that matters here. Nah. So anyway, I come in and I sat down. And he was one of the nicest people I've ever spoken to in my. He's so respectful. Yeah. And I was only there to sign a book. I must have been there at least 4 hours. He was telling me all these stories. We're chatting about you, and he was saying about teaching you boxing and stuff like that. And then he showed me, because obviously he's got the background with all the rings, and I believe a couple of films have been filmed there. He was showing me all that, and it was just. Yeah, he's a
good bloke.
He was such a lovely and very respectful guy.
Yeah.
And I do think that's probably the biggest thing missing.
Yeah, the old school respect and manners and morals.
Yeah, there is none of that. There is none of that. You know, we use the word respect.
He's a legend, Norman.
Oh, he was just honestly,
he's one of the hardest men in Britain, in England, without a doubt. In his day, he was one of the toughest men going. I know. I've got two groups of people. Both they had fights with him. One was 2 carloads, and the other was 1 carload. And he beat them all. He got CS gas by one lot. The other lot got weapons on him, hit him with weapons, and he took the weapons off.
I'm certain. You told me about it.
Yeah, I know he's gone through loads of it. I mean, if he gets attacked, he'll fight anybody, even if there's 10 of them.
Yeah, certainly told me about that. Yeah, because that's the thing I loved is I was obviously just sitting there listening to the story, but the way he told the story and his voice, I was thinking, I would have been that.
He took the knife off of one of them. They got a knife on him. He took the knife off and he cut his leather jacket open.
Yeah,
he went, look at it, it's dangerous, and he cut his leather jacket.
Yeah.
The other one tried to hit him on the end of a telescopic cosh. He said it felt like a twig. Norman said it felt like a bit of stick. But it was a metal telescopic cosh. That's how tough he is. But,
he's a big lad though, isn't he?
Yeah, in his heyday, he was
you can imagine in his heyday when he's all muscled up and that. Oh.
You don't feel pain.
Said, you know, hit him with a baseball bat and he'll think it's a twig, mate.
Yeah, you don't feel pain like normal people, Norman. He really don't.
I can understand.
But yeah, so going back to the actual thing, I think the biggest key to this was, like you say, is the main thing is discipline.
It is setting goals, goals, and just have a mission that you want to accomplish and go for it.
Yeah,
because it can be achieved.
This is one. I always say to people, there's basically three things. Is one, you've got to have your vision of what you want, and it could be as anything as simple as a house you want to move into, a car you want to buy, whatever it is. It's just got to have that vision. For me, it's like a movie playing in my head. Then I find that you've then got to set your goals, basically, because you might know what you want, but if you don't have your goals, how do you get there? What's the path? What's the steps?
That's right.
And then after that, the final thing, and at the end of the day, nothing will happen without this, taking action and getting up and going and doing it.
Doing it, that's right,
So to me, I always say to people, that's the three keys if you want to do something and be successful.
You just got to have that tunnel vision, you know, keeping, you know, just setting your goal, setting you for, it's like a tunnel, and heading for that light end of it, and just keep going until you see.
Sometimes you've got to be out of your comfort zone as well.
Yeah.
I started, but you've got a YouTube channel. I've started my YouTube channel. It's going really well. But initially, interviewing people, talking to the camera, I don't really like talking that much. But I've got used to it now.
Yeah.
And holding the camera up and talking to the camera felt weird. But you go out of your comfort zone, you keep on at it, like you're finding your feet with it now. And you've got to keep going with it, and then eventually, it will come together. And now I'm comfortable doing what I'm doing. I've learnt the editing, I've learnt how to research and do all those bits and bobs to make the videos, just to polish them off. And I'm loving doing that now.
Yeah. So how's that going then? Is it going
It's
really
YouTube,
well?
It's going really well. I think I'm up to just nearly 39,000 subscribers.
Oh yeah.
And I started about a year and a bit ago.
Oh,
but it's rising and rising. I'm getting about 5,000 new subscribers every month.
Yeah.
And the videos I've sort of found my little niche, which is mini documentaries.
Yeah.
With fighters, certain criminals. It's all true crime. Yeah. Fighting, boxing, street fighters. A lot of my people love the street fighters. Yeah. Lenny McLean, Malcolm Price, Cliff Fields, all that sort of stuff. Bill the Bomb, Roy Shaw. And the Australian people like Chopper Reed and all that, they like all that. So
I love the one that you did about how the name Bronson came about.
Oh yeah, the interview, yeah,
that was really
good. With Ricky Grover.
Yeah,
that was a brilliant interview.
Yeah,
Ricky Grover was brilliant. Yeah, Roger Ricky, thank you for that. He's a great comedian, actor, boxer. He was a boxer as well. He was from Canning Town.
Because he was in EastEnders.
He was in EastEnders. Yeah, he played Doc Cotton's son, didn't he? Nick's brother, I think.
Oh, was that? Yes.
He played Saint Cotton. Yeah. But yeah, he's a good actor, good comedian. But he's been around all the villains and the hard men as well, like Lenny and all them lot. So yeah, but I'm trying to get him on again actually. I've not done an interview for quite a while. I've concentrated on these little documentaries, but I will get back going with the interviews.
Yeah, no, that's really good to see that the subscribers. I think when we last spoke, you were at 10,000 or 11,000. I think so. Yeah, thinking about it,
that was only a few months back, was it? Yeah.
Yeah, it must. Yeah, and there's just that was quite a big jump then.
So it's nearly 38, coming up to 39.
Yeah.
Good. Which I'm really, really pleased with that. Yeah.
But like you say, it's just got to keep moving forward, keep doing it.
Yeah.
You're pushing your boundaries.
Yeah. And I'm adapting. What I'm doing, I'm adapting as well. Because when I initially started, I did it with a phone, and I was just doing little. Talking to the camera. Yeah. But then what I did, I didn't really like talking too much about, just with nothing there, with just me on it. So I started putting fighters in, editing with pictures and videos, and just researching, getting it all done like a little documentary. I do it now. So you learn and you're adapting and you're building on it. So yeah, hopefully I can keep going with it. And I'm really enjoying it.
No, that's really good. And also, I really appreciate you guys coming in. So thank you very much for that.
No, thank you.
Taking the time. We're going to go do a quick one-to-one boxing.
Yeah.
I'll probably get hit in the face a couple of times. But that's how you
More
learn.
than a couple.
No, it's training.
Thank you, mate.
Thank you very much.
Cheers. Thank you.
Thank you very much.